Can you stand the pressure? Can you stay away from sin when it's presented in your face? When it's easier to sin, when it's easier to say yes to sin than to say yes to God, what would you say? That's the real test. Can you still say yes to God even when you're faced with a situation that is easier to say yes to flesh? It's easier to say yes to the devil. It's easier to give in than to keep trying. That's the real test. When the enemy comes to tempt us, he's going to do us just like he did Jesus when Jesus was in the wilderness. When Jesus was in the wilderness, the enemy came and said, why don't you change these stones to bread? Why did he do that? Because he knew that Jesus was hungry. Jesus had just came off of a fast. But Jesus responded so profoundly. He responded with a word. And he responded not only to Satan, but he responded to himself, his flesh. And he said, well, man shall not live by bread alone, but man shall live by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. Jesus wasn't just talking to Satan, but he was talking to himself. He had to get himself right. Because when we go through temptation, we can't just talk to the enemy. No, we got to talk to ourselves and we got to get in the word. Just recently, I'm faced with some temptation, right? And the only way for me to get out of that temptation, because my flesh wanted to do it, was to get in the word and see what the word said about that situation. The word says to flee from it, to run from it, to not do this, to not do that. That means I should not be doing it. I had to talk to myself. I had to get in the word and tell myself, this is what the word says about it. And because this is what the word says, flesh, I need you to act right. I need you to do what the word says. The Bible tells us to crucify our flesh daily. Why? Because if we don't crucify our flesh will take over and we won't be able to do the things of the spirit. And the Bible tells us to not walk in after the flesh, but walk by the spirit. So every day my prayer is, Lord, help me to walk by the spirit and not after the things of the flesh. I crucify my flesh. I need you to rise up in me. I decrease so that you may increase. That's my prayer every day. Now, it is some times where I've not done that and I fail. And if you fail, you just get up. You ask for forgiveness and you keep pushing, because the Bible says that a righteous man will fall 7 times. But you got to get up. You got to get up and you got to keep pushing. My encouragement to you today is to push through the pressure. You got to push through the pressure. You got to push when you're faced with temptation, when it's easier to say yes to the enemy than to say yes to God. Push when you want to give up and you want to give in to temptation. You got to push through. And it's even okay to pace yourself through the pressure. Because y'all, I tell God, I just need you to get me through the next second. And once you get me through the next second, I need you to take me through the next minute. And Father, since you took me through the next minute, take me to the next hour and the next hour and the next hour, and then get me through the day. And then we do it all over again the next day, because God is so patient with us. And I'm so glad that he's patient with us. But if it takes that, I'm going to do it. I'm encouraging you today because the enemy is coming at us. He coming at us, y'all. It's not a joke. It's not easy, but you can do it. Get in your word, read your word, study your word, put your word on your flesh, fight your flesh with the word. That is it. That's all I have to say today. And you know what? It made me say that is because right now I'm in Vegas for a conference, and you know, they call Vegas the Sin City, right? But even in the midst of sin, I can still be holy. I'm surrounded by sin, but I'm choosing to be holy. And that's what we have to do every day. We got to wake up and choose God. We got to wake up and choose to be holy. We got to wake up and choose to be sanctified. Say yes again to God every single day. We say yes all over. And it's just a choice that we have to make. So guys, that's it. I just want to encourage you today to push through no matter what it feels like. Because in the end, it's not going to be worth it to give in to temptation. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.